Hello, my name is George Benavides. I am a targeted veteran, a non-consensual test subject. I've been illegally spying. I've been illegally spied on, microchipped, and tortured, targeted for 30 years since my military career. People are asking, well, when did you first become a targeted individual? I became a targeted individual back in 1994 when the government used me as a non-consensual test subject, spying on me, microchipping me, and implanting me, stalking me using advanced technology, AI, artificial intelligence, algorithms. AI is old. It was a weapon that was contracted to the military to spy on me for almost 30 years while serving the armed forces. They're attacking me now. The government was caught spying on me. They used my family members. They coerced my family members to use me as a non-consensual test subject without my consent, without a federal court order, or without due process of a law. And since my military career, they were spying on me, broadcasting my life, broadcasting my thoughts to society, to the government, and to foreign enemies, to China, to Russia, to Germany, to France. I am broadcasting my life 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. When the government was caught and they finally realized that this program wasn't working out, they tried to kill me. They attempted to kill me back approximately around between 95, 96. They began to kill me. I was victimized and targeted and tortured severely where I had to go to the Naval Hospital and they checked my vital signs and checked me thoroughly, and then I was released from the hospital. But I was victimized back in California, Oceanside, California, El Camino Real area, where I was severely attacked one night. Went to the Naval Hospital. They checked me out, plugged me in, hooked me up to EKGs. They did a thorough investigation, found out I was okay. Since then, the government has been retaliating against me because they're trying to get rid of me because they were caught illegal spying, tracking, and torture. From my military career on to 1998, when I was honorably discharged, the government was using me as an experiment. They were trying to process to try to put me through different scenarios where they can utilize the mind as I'm broadcasting that. And I was denied special operations. I was denied special movements because I was broadcasting my life to the enemy and to siding to the government, in which he should be knowing what I'm doing or thinking while in the armed forces, doing special operations off the coast of California, around other Marines who were also invested who were also tagged along with me as I'm broadcasting the battalion's ideas, military secrets. I mean, when you're broadcasting that to society, to the government, to foreign enemy, it's no good. It's a crime because it's considered espionage. That's what the government has done. They created espionage and used me as a non-consensual test as I'm broadcasting my life, broadcasting the government's secrecy to society, to the government, and to foreign enemies while serving the armed forces. Okay, it didn't stop. Okay, and I was denied special operations. I was denied special movements, and so they put me in scenarios where they're trying to use the AI or the ESP that I have to try and solicit that to the government, try to solicit that advanced technology to foreign enemies in foreign affairs. It didn't work, and they were caught red-handed. When I was honorably discharged in 1998, I filed a lawsuit to try to stop all this illegal spying and tracking. It didn't stop. But the government attempted several times to try to kill me to cover up this act of espionage. Finally, I was discharged honorably from the military in 1998, where I filed a lawsuit to try to get away from this illegal spying, tracking, and torture and espionage. And on May 12, 2000, when I got out of the military in 1998, I immediately began an investigation. I tried to stop all this by filing a lawsuit, and it was not stopped, okay? So from 1994 to this current decade, I've been a non-consensual test subject. I've been spied on, tracked, and targeted and tortured. I believe 9/11 was created. 9/11 was created to try to sell the microchip and mind industry to the American people. Well, how do you create that? How do you create the microchip and implant mind reading? How do you sell that? Well, you create disasters. You burn down houses with people entrapped. You bring down buildings with people entrapped. You roll over vehicles with people entrapped to try to sell the microchip industry to the American people. Okay, that's part of the reason why Trump's presidency was sabotaged, because they were trying to get Joe Biden in there to sell the microchip industry, okay? To try to sell the industry of spying and tracking Americans. But the government was caught. And the committee that was watching me all these years, for 30 years, are now coming forward, you know? And so when I tried to file a lawsuit, they stopped that. When I tried to go to 2 congressmen, they were neglected. When I tried to go to the FBI, they neglected to investigate my case. When I finally went to the U.S. Supreme Court, I was denied, okay? And you're going to see that. You're going to see that I was denied several occasions. I contacted John Cornyn, Ted Cruz. I contacted the people that were supposed to represent me and to stop all the spying and tracking, this silent war for 7 years. This is a 7-year silent war, my friends. And all the government has done is paid whistleblowers millions of dollars, millions of taxpayers' money, because they're trying to sell the mind reading to the American people by microchipping and spying and tracking without a federal court order, without a warrant for the last 70 years, my folks. Okay, my friends, if you're being tortured and targeted with advanced technology, satellites, drones, electronic, you're being spied on. If you're being tortured and you feel the pain, you're being spied on in violation of your 4th and 5th Amendment rights of the Constitution, okay? But the government was caught spying, and now they're trying to sell the industry to the American people. Their government has unleashed a coup against me using advanced technologies, algorithms, and AIs, and you're going to see that evidence, okay? The VA, back in 2000, after filing my lawsuit and contacting my federal officials, and I was denied due process of a law, denied an investigation, they pawned me off to the VA where they wrongfully diagnosed me, medicated me, and now torture me as an NK Ultra subject, a non-consensual test subject. And you're going to see that it's been going on for a long time. But this is a 70-year silent war, a 70-year silent war against Americans. And all the federal government has done is paid whistleblowers millions of dollars, okay? Millions of dollars, okay? I was discriminated against while in the military. They chose me as a Manchurian candidate. I was a chosen one while serving the armed forces for 30 years now, and now giving me some kind of qualified immunity that they're hiding by. They're hiding behind qualified immunity. They've been putting me in this theatrical curtain of mind reading. I have a case of ESP, and the VA failed to diagnose it. I'm illusional. Why? Because I'm broadcasting my ideas to society, to the government, and to foreign enemies, and which you should not know what I'm thinking. I have a case of ESP, extrasensory perception, okay? You with me so far? I am broadcasting my thoughts. I am broadcasting my life to society and to the government in violation of my 4th and 5th Amendment rights, okay? And now I'm being targeted and tortured. No one believed me. Oh, no, you're making that up. We're not tracking and torturing people. You're making that up. That's a bunch of baloney. This is a 7-year silent war, and you're going to see the evidence, okay, that they should have investigated this. I was jailed. I was falsely imprisoned and mentally incarcerated for speaking about this, for blowing the whistle, okay? I was put in mental institutions, and I was finally medicated and targeted and tortured by my government. And an act of self-defense. I was doing my job under qualified immunity, investigating this, and you're going to see that in my library, okay? You're going to see the facts, okay? This is a 7-year silent war against Americans, okay? Well, I've been targeted. I lost my jobs. I lost my family. I've lost my wife. I've lost my children. I've lost communication with my family because they're being targeted and tortured. Put in this program as a Manchurian candidate or non-consensual test subject for 30 years, my friends. I've been falsely imprisoned, mentally incarcerated, targeted and tortured, used as a non-consensual test subject for 30 years. And now the government has pawned it off to the VA while I'm wrongfully diagnosed as schizophrenic delusional, targeted and tortured, put back in their MK Ultra program where I'm medicated, targeted, and tortured. You with me so far? Okay? You're going to see evidence today, okay? Because Americans were promised to stop this. We were promised to stop this, and it did not stop. It continued on. Why? Because they are invested. They are invested in the silent war of satellite weapons, microwave energy weapons, and electronic warfare against Americans. And if you don't believe me, you put the CIA, you put the FBI, you put the NSA, and you put the DOD front and center and show them your retirement portfolios. They all invested in BlackRock, Boeing, Lockheed, Raytheon, ABC Inc., Google, Metaverse, all the AI stocks, all the algorithm stocks, BlackRock, and the list goes on. AT&T, Apple, Samsung, they're all invested in the AI stocks that is used to attack you and me here in the United States and abroad. Okay? Want to know why the CIA is complaining of being targeted? Because they all own Apple phones. They all own advanced technologies, okay? We are being targeted and tortured. And I have to shut down my phone by electrical tape to stop this from recording me 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The Chinese have banned it. Russia's trying to cut the Google optics under the ocean. We know how this war is being played out. It's a stocked war to attack humanity, to attack society. And you're going to see that today. Okay, stand by. Thank you. This is my library. This is an Apple iPad. This has been given to the Texas Rangers. It's been put into state courts here in Texas. Everybody knows I have this library, okay? It's documented. And I'm going to update that today because I'm going to show you how much evidence I have. This is a library, okay? This is my evidence right there for the record. The government was caught spying on me. There's no doubt, okay? And they try to cover this espionage case up by dragging my family involved in the bullshit. Why do you drag someone, coerce someone, and entice someone to be a part of this investigation when they should have done it in the first place? I was over the age of 18 to sign my own damn contracts. You want to spy on me for the rest of my life? You negotiate with me. I was over the age of 18. You don't bring my family into this bullshit. They should never be a part of this shit. But you drug them in to spy on me for 30 fucking years. Why? Pardon my language. Why? Why? How did we get here? I own this library. I own the facts and the rights to this library. This is my library, okay? And I own the National Library for Targeted Individuals, okay? This is a national library right here. Okay? I'm going to show you. We've been promised a long time ago that we would not be consented on. Okay? And here we are. Broken promises. Okay? Targeted and tortured by the damn government. Broken promises.
Biggest violations of medical ethics ever perpetrated on U.S. citizens. This week, medical experts and others are meeting to make sure something like this never happens again. And leading that effort is Amy Gutmann. She heads the Presidential Commission for the Study of Bioethical Issues, and she is also the president of the University of Pennsylvania. Dr. Gutmann, thanks for being with us. This is not a single incident. We've actually had many of these things happen. What is the purpose of your commission? Are we worried that these types of things are still happening today?
Allie, we can't know whether these things are happening today unless we have a fact-finding mission, and that's what President Obama has asked the Presidential Commission on Bioethics to do, to actually meet with experts and ask them, what is it today that would prevent these things from happening again? They've happened too many times in our history, and we want to make sure, and the president wants to make sure, that we can assure the American public that if they are part of a scientific experiment or a medical experiment, they will be treated with respect and fairly. So we don't know right now how the United States is relative to the rest of the world, and that's why the president has asked me to convene an international task force of experts. And those experts are going to sit down with me, and we're going to actually discuss how different countries and the United States fare in this regard. And we should come up with a report by year's end that can inform the public as well as the president of where we stand.
Okay, we know you're having more hearings in May. We'll follow this along with you. Very curious to see what happens. Dr. Amy Gutmann is the chair of the Presidential Commission for the Study of Bioethical Issues and the president of the University of Pennsylvania.
So they were caught spying. And they've been kicking the can down the road for almost 30 years now, holding kangaroo courts on the House and Senate floors. Look at him. We need to spy on him. They're in violation of my Fourth Amendment rights. They're in violation of the Espionage Act, okay? But the government has to find a defense to stop this. Meanwhile, I've been denied due process of a law. Meanwhile, I've been denied the right to an attorney. I've contacted several attorneys, but they don't want any part of it. Why? Because the attorneys have conflict of interest, okay? The CIA is reading my thoughts, and when I go try to stop this, they contact the lawyers and tell them, don't take the case. Or they go to the doctor's office where I get an MRI or an x-ray, the microchip they put in me, and they say, don't divulge that because it's national security. And you can manipulate x-rays. You can switch out x-rays. They're not old x-rays anymore. And so you can switch them out and say, well, no, he doesn't have a device inside of him. You don't have one inside of him, to cover up their act in violation of the National Security Act, because they are spying on me illegally. They are reading my thoughts, and they are stealing my mind in violation of my Fourth Amendment right. It's called ESP, extrasensory perception, okay? And we're going to get to that, okay? But we were promised that if we were part of a non-consensual test subject or an experiment, that we would be treated fairly. We were promised a task force. Where is the task force? Where is Obama? Obama is gone. He is no longer here, okay? Broken promises again. But we heard that from president to president in an act upon off, which we're here now. How do we get here? Why are we here? Is what you have to ask yourself, okay? More information. You got that? Now we go to President Bill Clinton, okay? President Bill Clinton, another broken promise. No more non-consensual test subjects. Broken promises, okay? Broken promises. And so the government has a coup in my neighborhood to try to kill me, to cover up the taxpayer investigation. This is in the interest of the American people. Why? Because the federal government and its intelligence agencies are wasting taxpayers' money, investigating me, discriminating against me, choosing me for whatever reason. Out of all the veterans, they did it to me. Why? Why only me? Okay? You get me so far? And they pawned it off to the VA. Go see the VA when I was wrongfully diagnosed, when they should have stopped this damn war a long time ago. All right? You got me so far. I was pawned off from president to president, from courthouse to congressman every year for 30 years. Why did it stop? Why? Instead, they unleashed AIs against me. Every time I think of some color, it's on TV. If I think of the color purple, it's on TV. If I think of the color yellow, it's on TV. If I think of the color blue, it's on TV. If I think of football team, it's on TV. If I think of baseball, it's on TV. They're manipulating my mind with TV stations, radio stations, devices. It's always on a go, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with artificial intelligence, AI. I swear to God, so help me God. Okay? I am a non-consensual test subject for 30 fucking years, falsely in prison, mentally incarcerated, tested as a test subject for 30 years, and they're targeting me and torturing me to cover up their act of espionage. So help me God. You want to know why? Because they're invested in this mine. They're invested in stocks and shares that are involving a coup of illegal aliens and immigrants and citizens who are involved in the spying and tracking and torturing me with private corporations such as ABC Inc., Google, AI, OpenAI, ChatGPT. They're using Metaverse and Apple corporations who have AIs to track and hunt me down for using their products. So help me God. You get me so far. And they're making a profit off me. Where is my damn money? Where is my money? I have no money in my bank account today. Meanwhile, you have Elon Musk and Neuralink and X that are making a profit off my mind, stealing my thoughts, stealing my ideas. Where is my money? Why am I not getting paid? Why is my bank account empty? Huh? Well, you make millions off my mind trying to sell the idea. Where's the patent for stealing my thoughts? I rate that. It's my mind. It's not your mind. It is my mind. I rate that. All right? You hijacked my mind. All right? Where's the money that belongs to me for stealing my thoughts and ideas for 30 years? Huh? You're making a profit off that. You're so fucking high and mighty. You have money in your fucking bank accounts. Where's my fucking money for stealing my thoughts? I don't consent to the bullshit. My bank account is empty. Meanwhile, you have Elon Musk, Google, Metaverse all making a profit off my fucking mind. Where is my damn money? Huh? Why is my bank account empty? Huh? We were promised to not be tested again. I served in 1994 during the President Bill Clinton administration. Okay? I am a non-consensual test subject. Why didn't it stop? Why? How did we get here? You want to call me nuts? Delusional? I've gone nuts. You made it worse. Medicated me as an MK Ultra subject. When will it stop? When is it going to stop? You know why it's not stopped? Because you're having too much fucking fun. Using me as a coup in his neighborhoods of video games and Wi-Fi signals and satellite weapons to manipulate my mind. When is it going to stop?
And their staffs have been...
It's a legacy of cynicism, fraud, racketeering, human trafficking, breach of contracts.
The committee learned that research safeguards have come a long way since the Second World War. Americans can and should feel much more secure about medical research today, but the system remains imperfect. I urge you to carefully review the committee's findings and recommendations. Both the government and research institutions must do all they can to protect our fellow citizens. If this committee's work is to mean anything, it has to be that 50 years from now, there does not have to be another presidential committee charged with investigating allegations of abuses of human subjects. There should never be another such advisory committee. Information must not be concealed again.
There should never be another advisory committee, okay? There should never be another advisory committee. There should never be another advisory committee used to investigate a non-consensual test. They're doing that right now. They have kangaroo courts stealing my thoughts, manipulating my mind with drones, satellites, and electronic warfare, a neighborhood fucking coup to manipulate my mind. I've been falsely in prison, mentally incarcerated 30 years. My bank accounts are fucking empty, okay? You're making a profit off my mind. When will it stop? When will it stop? Okay? You pawned me off to the VA. On May 12, 2000, I filed a lawsuit to stop all this. Okay? And it didn't stop. Apple's been burning my battery so I don't record this. Oh, you're crazy. You're fucking crazy. I'm not crazy, man. Congressman Kucinich tried to pass a bill to protect us all. Congressman Kucinich attempted to pass a bill to protect us all. Why couldn't he pass a bill 4 times? Okay? Why? Why couldn't he pass a bill 4 times? Is what I have to ask you. On May 12, 2000, I tried to stop this. Okay? I tried to stop this. It didn't stop. Why? This man tried to pass a bill giving us equal protection of the law. Why couldn't he pass his bills? He tried to pass H.R. 2977, Space Preservation Act, 4 times. He tried to pass his bill 4 times. Why didn't it pass? Why? How in the hell did we get here? On the last time, he had 25 signatures. He had 25 signatures to try to stop this. Why didn't it get passed? Why was that allowed? Why was that blocked due process of law? Why was it denied due process of the law? Why was it denied due process of the law? Instead, I was pawned off from senators to congressmen to go see the VA where I was wrongfully diagnosed. Calling me schizophrenic, delusional. Why didn't it stop? Why didn't it stop? How did we get here? 2 congressional inquiries. 2 congressional inquiries. Why didn't it stop? Not even the CIA could stop their own crime. This is the Honorable Will Hurd. Why couldn't he cut the red tape with a congressional inquiry? Why didn't it stop? Huh? Why? The FBI was asked to investigate. Why didn't it stop? Why didn't it stop? Finally, the Supreme Court was asked to investigate. Why didn't it stop? Instead, you infiltrated my family. You drugged my family into this. You enticed them to commit duress, to sign an agreement that was not legit, that was forbidden. You drugged them into my life without my consent, without due process of the law, and now you're trying to kill me to cover up your act of espionage. Why? How did we get here? Why?